Wait, ChatGPT can do that? Yup. And if you're not using AI in your digital product business, you're working harder than you need to. On Tuesday, April 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm hosting a free, no fluff crash course on AI for content creators and digital product sellers. You'll see exactly how ChatGPT can be your full-time assistant for just $20 a month. I'll show you how AI can brainstorm, write, and even sell your digital products so you're not doing all the heavy lifting. And I'm giving you a live real-time demo of ChatGPT in action so you can start using it in the same day. Listen, AI isn't replacing you, it's making you more efficient. If you've been overwhelmed by AI or just don't know where to start, this training is your shortcut to making AI work for you. You don't have to do this alone. Your AI assistant is ready to help, so let's put it to work. Save your seat now at empoweredbusinesslab.com/training and join me live on April 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see you there. Now, let's jump into the episode. Welcome to the Empowered Business Podcast, where strategy meets action. I'm Monica Froese, and I'm here to help you create, sell, and scale digital products the smart way, using AI and proven strategies to build a sustainable, profitable business. If you're ready to turn your expertise into digital products that sell and eventually grow into a thriving digital shop, you're in the right place. Each week, I break down real-world tactics, unfiltered insights, and bold business moves. Because building a digital product business should be sustainable, scalable, and designed for long-term success. Let's ditch the fluff, leverage AI to work smarter, and turn your expertise into a thriving digital empire on your terms. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empowered Business Podcast. Today, I want to talk about how easy AI has made it for us to launch new digital products. I also want to talk about the importance of taking what ChatGPT gives you for your digital product and infusing your own personal touch into it. So let me set the stage here. I am an avid user, I should say consumer, of TikTok. And this is something I've talked about with my students a lot. They've always asked, where is the place that you can get the most organic traffic? For the last 2 years, I have been saying, if you want to grow fast organically, where it's at is TikTok. And then they say to me, why are you not on TikTok? And I have a very clear answer for that. And that's because it is the one place on the internet where I can be a consumer and not a content creator. And I've just really appreciated that. So I have not taken the leap into TikTok. And trust me, I know I'm leaving a lot of money on the table not doing it. That being said, while my For You page is pretty dialed into my personal interests, occasionally I get targeted with digital marketing stuff. And it's probably because the apps all know what the heck we're doing on our phones. When I get targeted with these ads, I get so mad. Here's typically what these digital marketers, and I'm saying this in quotation marks, will say. I actually watched one of these just the other day, and this bro marketer, hands down, this is a bro marketer. He goes, I'm going to show you how you can create an ebook in, I think he said in under an hour and make $10,000 in your first month with no audience. I'm like, bro, that is not a thing. Anyone who's selling you any sort of BS like that, it's not a thing. He went on to demonstrate basically putting in the simplest prompts, getting the most bogus information back from ChatGPT and simply copying and pasting, throwing it into a PDF and going on TikTok and creating a lot of TikToks around that topic and making tons of money. Listen, it doesn't work that way. And let me explain. I have a saying for data. When I was in corporate, we would say, junk in, junk out. The data you get out of your systems is as good as the data you put in. And that is no exception for ChatGPT. And I have seen it time and time again. Truly, the prompts and the information that I feed it are what allows it to give me really good information back. And not only does that take time to train AI to understand your topic the way you see it, if you don't use critical thought when you are using AI, the information that you get out of it is going to be very generic. And the thing is, people don't buy generic information. People still buy from people at the end of the day, especially small businesses, which is what we are. What AI is really good for is helping us organize our thoughts, structuring our thoughts so that they're more consumable, and helping you brainstorm different angles for your products or helping you fill gaps. I'm going to give you an example of that. I'm going to walk you through the first digital product that I put together with AI a couple months ago and how it basically blew my mind, how much easier the process is with AI, but also why I still had to use critical thought for the end result of the product to be consumable and something that I can actually sell legitimately. So, as you know, we are in the process of relaunching the Redefining Mom brand. Redefining Mom is the original website that I've had for 12 years, and it was founded because I had postpartum PTSD with my first daughter. It was undiagnosed at the time, and I was pretty upset about the lack of maternity leave policies. Through a series of things that happened in my business, I ended up pivoting into teaching a lot of digital marketing, and Redefining Mom kind of got sidelined, but it's existed this entire time. And we've had funnels running in the background and all that stuff. So it's continued to make us money, but it hasn't been a focus of my business. I went through a lot of life changes over the last 2 years and redefining myself as a mom. There's never been a better time for us to relaunch the brand with this new perspective I have on life, having gone through a divorce, co-parenting, all sorts of stuff that falls under the Redefining Mom brand. We're relaunching it. And the first product I wanted to launch was the Empowered Divorce Planner. This planner, I want to be really robust because divorce is quite a emotional roller coaster. And let's be real here. I mean, it's not something you do every day, right? So it's something that you're usually in a very weakened emotional state when you enter into it and you're not thinking clearly. One of the things that really strikes me about this topic, you are making decisions that are going to impact the rest of your life in ways that are hard for you to understand while you're going through the process. Because if you're someone like me, I was in an 11-year marriage. That was my life. And we operated a certain way. And I had no foresight into how dramatic the changes in my life were going to be. And that meant that some of the ways that we operated inside the marriage, I thought would just continue on post-divorce. And that didn't end up being the case. I found myself saying, wow, the things I wish I had known before going to the first mediation session, or if you're not going through mediation, going to your first lawyer appointment. And I really felt called to help women, moms particularly, understand some of the things that they should know about and some of the things they should consider before making any major decisions and signing on the dotted line. And that's where this idea came from. I have created hundreds and hundreds of digital products, and I've trained thousands of people on how to create their digital products. The process of creating a good digital product and the magnitude of what I wanted this product to look like would have taken me months because there is a lot of information that would have to come out of my brain. Then I would have to systematize it. I have to figure out the logical flow to present it. How was it going to be the most helpful and usable to women in this situation going through this divorce? All of the information would have to come out of my brain solely. And that takes a lot. So when I just decided to start using AI, this was going to be the first digital product that I was going to run through our new system of creating digital products with the help of AI. And I also knew while I was doing this that being able to articulate why my personal experience and infusing my human voice into the product was still going to be so important. So this is what I did. I teach something, and I've taught this since I believe 2018, a concept called reverse engineering. And what reverse engineering is when you use a search engine, Google, Pinterest, YouTube, even TikTok, anything that's you can search a topic and get search results from is a search engine. And what are search engines used for? Well, think about it. When you go to Google and you type something in, you are typing in a problem that you need solved. What is a digital product? A digital product is a solution to someone's problem. I go to Google, I put in my problem. I want Google to give me the answer. Now, that answer could be presented in numerous different ways. It could be in the AI snippet that comes back at the top of search, because maybe it's just a simple answer that you can get off the internet. Maybe it's a product that's going to resolve my issue. Let's say I'm looking for a new electric toothbrush. Well, I want to read some reviews on it, so I'm going to look for some review sites. I then need a place, an e-commerce place to go buy said toothbrush once I make up my mind. With digital products, what we're looking for is when we reverse engineer, we're putting in the problem that we believe our ideal customer would be facing. We're looking at the search results to start brainstorming the types of products that we can create to solve those problems for our customers. The other search engine or marketplace that we use now is Etsy, because Etsy has really grown in popularity with digital product sellers. Now, that's a whole separate podcast I've recorded of why we don't sell on Etsy as our main revenue stream, because you don't own anything to do with your customer data if you sell on there. But there are a lot of digital product sellers on there. So there's a lot of good information that you can get about the types of products that are already out there on your topic. Now, prior to AI, this was really the only way that we had to go and do market research about our products. And previously, there weren't nearly as many digital products out there as there is now. So it was a lot of work to reverse engineer. It was very helpful. It definitely helped kickstart the process of creating a digital product, but it was very manual. Now, I still highly recommend doing this exercise before you create your digital product, and I teach my students how to do this. But with the help of AI, we are able to take our brainstorming from reverse engineering and then plug our ideas into ChatGPT to really refine exactly what it is we're going to create that's going to hit the biggest pain point that our audience is having around that topic. So let me walk you through exactly what I did with the divorce planner that took me from reverse engineering on a search engine over to ChatGPT to really refine and outline my digital product, and how I completed a task that used to take me at least a week. In order to get to a really solid outline, I did this in about an hour. So the first thing with reverse engineering that you really want to keep in mind is the who, what, and how. The who is your ideal customer? Who do you want to reach with your digital product? For me, it's a woman thinking about divorce with kids or a recently single mom. What is the number one problem you want to solve for your ideal customer? I want to help these women think through things that will have a big impact on their lives post-divorce that they are not aware of. I want to help them plan for their single future financially, mentally, emotionally, relationally, and schedule-wise. And finally, the how. This is the solution you'll be offering your ideal customer. I want to provide practical usability tools to make their life easier. Now, the next thing I start doing is documenting the keywords that I put into Google, Etsy, or any other search engine. So if you start on Google, for example, if you start typing something, Google will often fill out the rest of what you're typing. So I just started by typing divorce. And here are some things that came up on Etsy: divorce settlement planner, divorce letter, child custody binder, divorce spreadsheet, divorce planning templates. On Google, I got things like divorce planner PDF, divorce planner checklist, divorce planner template. So from there, after I get an idea of what kind of keywords people are searching around this topic, I start looking through the search results and documenting different digital product ideas. Things I had written down included a divorce planner, a co-parenting planner, affirmation cards, divorce journal or confidence journal, a divorce financial spreadsheet where we talk about things like debts, assets, real estate information. In other words, collecting all the information that you need to go into the divorce. Single mom budgeting spreadsheet. Managing your finances when there's not a dual income and you don't have a spouse any longer is often very different than managing it in a dual income household. So now that I have an idea of the type of product that I want to create based on doing this reverse engineering and seeing what else is out there, and also understanding my end goal of how I'm trying to help my ideal customer, I now want to use AI to flesh out the idea in a more structured outline and start deciding what the product is going to look like in its end format. So the first thing I do when I head on over to ChatGPT is write out my personal story about why I want to help around this topic, why I'm passionate about this topic, and the things I want to make sure are included. So this is what I told ChatGPT. I said, going through a divorce is one of the most emotional times in someone's life. You're being asked to make important decisions that will impact you and your kids for decades to come. When I was going through my divorce, it was hard to think clearly. I wish I had a resource that would have helped guide me with all of the intricacies of decisions I would have to make around finances, custody, investments, debts, retirement, child support, insurance, and much more. What I envision would have helped me tremendously when I went to mediation with my ex-husband was a guide that prompts me to think about and ask questions beyond the obvious. For example, I wish I had negotiated to have my kids every Thanksgiving because my ex doesn't care about that holiday and it means a lot to me. These are things I wanted to think of before thrust into making decisions when I am in an emotionally vulnerable state. And then I said, I want to include a finance tracker that has debts, assets, and where the money is coming from, custody schedules, emotional well-being prompts like affirmations, child support, and alimony insurance coverage, etc. There is so much that goes into this topic. There's only so much I can think of, but you never know what you're missing. AI is super helpful because it will give you information or prompt you with things and you'll think, oh, man, I never would have thought of it. But AI is also not human. So I like to say, guess what? AI doesn't have feelings and it never went through a divorce. I understand what it's like to be in the shoes of my ideal customer in a way that a robot simply cannot. So after I explained to ChatGPT what I was looking to do, I then want to feed it a series of prompts that essentially are going to help me narrow down what's going to go inside of the product. And also, how am I going to structure the product? What would be the best way for me to present this information to my ideal customer? ChatGPT did not disappoint. It gave me a lot of really cool ideas, things I had not thought of in terms of how I could present this information to be usable for my ideal avatar. Once I narrowed down how I was going to structure the product and what would be inside of the product, I then went to ChatGPT to help me outline the product. And this is where things got pretty cool. And when I started to feel like, wow, ChatGPT has really helped cut out so much of the mental load of coming up with certain things that you need for a digital product and helps me make decisions faster. So here are some prompts that I used to help me get to the final outline. One of the prompts was, please come up with 10 ideas for product names. I want to have a warm, bold, fun feeling to it. In other words, what feeling do you want the product name to give to your ideal customer? And I said it should be less than 5 words long. It gave me 10 practical yet catchy product name ideas. It came up with things like Divorce Navigator, Next Chapter Guide, Divorce Blueprint, Life After Split Guide. They're catchy, but I landed on Empowered Divorce Planner, which is perfect because it really fits my brand. It encapsulates how I feel about empowering women, but also I use empowered in my brand a lot. Then I asked it to help me come up with a product tagline, a transformation statement, pain points, successes that are tangible, successes that are emotional, and then also key features that I would have in the product. Once I had decided on all of this, I essentially had the overarching structure of the product developed. And now I had to simply plug in all the information from my brain into the outline so that we then had a product that we could design into our final digital product. Getting to this point of the outline, like I said, used to take me about an entire week. It was a lot of thinking through all the things without any help. Everything had landed on my shoulders. The coming up with the tangible successes, understanding the emotions behind the topic. I mean, that was a lot of thinking that I had to do before I even developed the product. Now that ChatGPT knew so much about what I was trying to accomplish with this product, I was able to get it to help me not just outline, but give me tangible things to put in the product. But here's the key. This is where people, our TikTok friends, our digital marketers, bro marketers on TikTok, where they went wrong. They may have explained how to prompt ChatGPT fairly well, but then instead of using critical thought, they were teaching people just to copy and paste everything that came out of it. And that is not at all what I suggest doing. When I asked ChatGPT to flush out the product for me from the outline, it did come up with things that I would not have thought of. It really helped me. And how we help our students with AI is not only does it really act as a second brain for us with creating our products, but it helps us structure the products so they're more usable and consumable. At the end of the day, anyone could go to ChatGPT and ask it to help with it. Anyone could go and say, hey, I need help I'm about to get divorced. I need to know what I should be prepared with before I walk into mediation. Or I'm a recent single mother and I need help budgeting my finances. Like anyone can go and give generic prompts like that and get answers back. There's a lot of information to be had for free on the internet. But what we can do with our products is take that information and make it usable. That's what's going to separate us from people who are just taking the information from ChatGPT and trying to shove it into a digital product and acting like that's something that they could make thousands of dollars off of. That is not where you're going to see success. Where you're going to see success is by treating AI like a companion, like someone who can take your ideas and help you organize them and make them more digestible and more usable. And if you're thinking, wow, I really wish I had access to these prompts that you use, well, guess what? I have two important things to tell you about. First of all, you can get access to all the prompts that we use to refine and outline our digital product for free. If you go to empoweredbusiness.co/lazy, you can download our prompt guide. And also, I'm going to take it a step further. And on April 15th, I am going to show you exactly how we took this outline from ChatGPT and turned it into a full-fledged digital product in our shop. And if you want to actually go check out what that final product is, you can right now. It's in the Redefining Mom shop. I decided to break out the product. The final version is going to be the Empowered Divorce Planner. That will end up being like a bundle of a lot of individual products. The very first pillar that we launched is called Custody Clarity Planner. And you can actually buy this right now for $9 in the Redefining Mom shop. And again, this is just one pillar inside of what the final Empowered Divorce Planner is going to be. And if you want to see how we brought this to life in real time, join us on April 15th. Go to empoweredbusinesslab.com/training to sign up. And I am going to show you how I took those prompts to outline and refine our digital product and turned it into something that is actually making us money and doing it in a fraction of the time of how long it used to take us. So go ahead, sign up, empoweredbusinesslab.com/training. And do not forget to grab your free prompts and how you can do this on your own over at empoweredbusiness.co/lazy. I'll see you back here next week. And again, please feel free to like, follow, and leave us a review that will help us get seen in the algorithm. We were on a hiatus for a while and would love to get back into the ears of many more people. And that is one way you can help support the show. I can't wait to see you again next week. Until then. That's a wrap on today's episode, but your next step starts right now. If you're serious about selling digital products and want the AI-powered tools, expert strategy, and real human support to make it happen, then you need to check out the Empowered Business Society. Inside, you'll get AI-driven trainings to create and sell digital products faster, a private community for expert feedback and real-time support, exclusive access to the Monica Memo podcast, and if you go pro, you'll get monthly marketing shortcuts, live Q&As, and 20% off of the Empowered Shop perpetually. Because smart business owners sell smarter, they don't work harder. And the best part, you can get started for as little as $9. The best business growth happens when AI and real humans work together. Ready to make your next move? Join us inside of the Empowered Business Society. You can check us out at empoweredbusiness.co/society. See you in the next episode.